Hi everybody and welcome to another Studio Diaries vlog. I'm going to do voiceover for this video and see how it goes. Monday I decided I was going to do a gouache colour chart. It's a nice relaxing sort of activity to do when you're not really quite sure what to do, but you want to do something with paint. And it's been something I've been meaning to do for a while. So I got out my huge F8, I think, sized sketchbook. That's just me showing you a watercolour one I did a while back. And I drew up the big grid. I've got 26 tubes of paint, so I've got 26 by 26, and it's just a case of going through each colour, starting with, I think I started with primary magenta, and mixing it together with all the variations of colour and filling up this column up the one side. I didn't have time to do the whole thing on Monday. In fact, I haven't done any more this week. But yeah, I got the magenta ones done. And while I was at it, I thought what I would do is get out some little squares, well, sort of squares of card. It's actually watercolour paper. It's quite thick, cold press, I think, watercolour paper. And I originally cut these up because I was going to do the 100-day project, and I think I got to like day 9 or 7 or something. But they've been sitting on my shelf, and I've been using them for paint samples. And I thought, while I am mixing up all the paint samples for the colour chart, why not put some paint on these larger pieces? And then I was thinking perhaps if I punch a hole in one corner, I could put them on some sort of ring system, and they're kind of easier to reference because they're much larger. So if I want to choose a colour scheme, I can sort of pull individual cards off the ring and I can sort of arrange them on the desk that way. So yeah, that's the plan. Because I don't want to waste the paint really, because once you've mixed up all those combinations, you may as well use them for something. So I'm just faffing here because the light keeps changing with the camera and I have no idea why. But yeah, that was the plan on Monday. And also another thing I was going to do is paint onto these little round stickers. So I got this idea from Natalie Illustration on YouTube. I will link her again below. And she showed how she sticks the stickers with paint on the end of her tubes of paint. So when you're storing them vertically, you can very easily see which paint colour it is by looking at the top of the cap. So that's the plan. Yeah, I'm pointing out that I might actually store them flat in that box still, but I expect at some point I may buy new colours and then I may end up sort of storing them differently. So while I'm getting the paint out, I might as well do that as well. So to mix up all the paints, I put out all the little blobs of magenta into my 2 palettes, which they're just China palettes that I get from a 100 yen shop. They're actually plates, I think they're supposed to be, but yeah, I find the ceramics really nice to work on. And then it's just a case of getting all the paint out of the tubes, making sure I get it in the correct order, and mixing a tiny little amount on the palette, and then using that to fill in my 2 colour palette things, whatchamacallits. And then I decided to mix in white with the colours that I had in the palette, so that I have a sort of a sample on my little sample sheets of what the paint looks like when you mix in white, because that works quite well. When you're using gouache paint, it's quite nice to use sort of the chalky white to make the paint more opaque, because that's one of the benefits of gouache over watercolour, is that you can get a sort of opacity that you can't with watercolour. So Tuesday morning, firstly I spent making up some little ink sample bottles to send to a friend, and I'd come into a bit of a mess on the desk. You can see, I kind of left all my paint, my dirty paint water and everything from the previous day doing the gouache charts. What I'd done is with the paint that was left over in the palettes, I'd sort of tried using it on the 2, I bought these 2 sketchbooks last week and I wanted to do some tests in them with my coloured pencils. So I thought if I did a few blobs of gouache paint, that would give me a way to test the pencils on top of gouache, but also to just test out the paper generally. I've got a sort of stack of things over on the desk over there that I need to make a video with. And I have a sort of vague plan to clear out my stationery trolley and sort of rejig the contents of that and tidy it up, get rid of a few things that I don't use anymore. So that's another thing I was planning to do on Tuesday. But I actually ended up playing around with the ink that was left over in the pipettes that I was using to transfer the fountain pen ink. And I started blobbing them onto a sketchbook I had lying around. And I put it on the window ledge in the sun to dry. And it left really interesting patterns. That was very fun. I think I'll do that one again. And then the next thing I got on with was doing the pencil test. So I bought these gorgeous Tombow Irojiten pencils last week, and I wasn't able to try them out over the weekend, but I sat down finally and had a go through with all of them. And the way I decided to sort of test them all out was I wrote down the names of them along the bottom so that I can see the colour and the name together. And then I sort of had a little go at doing the pencils over the top of the gouache paint to see which ones worked well on which colours, which ones showed up and which ones didn't. And I actually found there was quite a lot of variation in the consistency of the pencils. And I don't know whether this happens with all sort of pencil crayon sets. And I'm not complaining, but I did notice that some of them were a lot harder and then some of them were very soft. And I did think that the newest batch, the ones that are called I think they're called EX 1 to 10, they're sort of like the additional ones they added in recently. They're all very soft. So I don't know whether they've changed their formula or whether it's just that the particular colour combinations or whatever chemicals, I don't know what they use to make up pencil crayon cores, but perhaps they have like different recipes, maybe have to different colors, maybe have to have a different consistency. But that was very interesting, and I basically just really enjoyed myself, thoroughly enjoyable, and I'm really glad I got these pencils. So the first thing I did Thursday morning after seeing my son off to school is I came back and I took all the paper decorations off the now very dead and crumbly bamboo from our decking. And I actually started filming, or I did complete filming, a video for my Patreons, which was all about the Tanabata traditions. And I used 3 picture books that you can see there to talk about like the origin story, how people celebrate it in their homes, and a little bit about Japanese festivals. So that went up on my Patreon for July last week. So if you're interested in seeing these kind of videos, do go over and have a look at my Patreon and see if there's any tiers that you're interested in joining. But I thoroughly enjoy making these videos. And actually, having done that, I then felt really excited about doing some drawings from the books. So I got all my paints and my sketchbooks out and I sat down and I started sort of randomly drawing some things from the books. So here you can see I'm actually drawing some of the decorations that we'd made. Although these ones I actually made a little bit later on, just for my own curiosity. They were the ones that were in my son's origami book. But yes, mostly I'm just drawing things from these gorgeous picture books. I will put the names of the books and the illustrators down below just in case you're interested in having a look. But as I said, my Patreon video goes through these in a lot more detail and you can see things all close up in there. But yeah, I'm just trying to... I basically, at this point during the day, I think I had like an hour left. So I was looking at the clock and I was just cracking out as many drawings as I could. I'm not interested in whether they look good or whether they are beautiful. All I'm doing is just getting the ideas down, getting the shapes, getting the construction of the Tanabata decorations, just random little things. If I see something in colour that I like, then I'll grab my colour pencils. But yeah, it's just a research exercise in this book. This is actually a Midori notebook. So it's not technically a sketchbook. It's the Cotton Midori notebook, but I quite like having it as a low pressure sketchbook. As in, I don't really care about things looking good in here. I don't have to worry whether I've got the right paper for the right material. I just shove anything in here. And if it works, it works. And if it doesn't, I don't care because it's just sort of, it sits on my desk. And if I wanted to scribble something down or draw something down, I just grab it. I don't have to kind of have any pressure over it, basically. So I'm really enjoying using my Tombow pencils at this point. Yeah, just really nice colours. There's a few colours now I'm thinking, oh, I don't really have, like, I didn't really have a particular blue. I was sort of looking around for a particular blue and I couldn't find it. So I might have to go back and get another one. But yeah, we'll see. I'm drawing out these gorgeous, I'm assuming they chrysanthemums, maybe, that I really liked in one of the picture books. Just enjoying using all the beautiful colours from the pencil set. So it's quite nice to just do this once in a while. You know, ideally I'd be drawing from life, perhaps I'd be outside drawing people doing things, that kind of stuff. But I do like find that I draw a lot from books, and obviously I'm not going to reproduce these images as they are, because this is someone else's artwork here that I'm sort of copying. But I suppose what I'm doing is I'm just copying the shapes and the ideas and sort of learning a little bit about the culture behind the Tanabata festival as well. And then I will then redraw these things in my own style or in my own way for my Patreons. But yeah, it's just a nice way to kind of get a few ideas and sort of do visual research, really, is to get favourite picture books out. I do this quite a lot, I have to admit, and it's always a fantastic excuse to buy some nice picture books and support the artists that have worked really hard on these books. It's also a really good way to explore colour palettes, because I find that I do stick to the same sort of colours, and it's really nice when you look at another artist's work and you see perhaps they're using completely different colours to you, and you might it's kind of nice to just experiment with other people's sort of favourite colour palettes, I suppose, and like styles and things like that. So it's definitely an exercise I recommend to people who like to draw. So next week I have 4 A4 digital sheets to create for my Patreons, and I kind of know what I'm going to do. Like, I sort of know what my format is, but I feel like I don't have the finished artwork to a certain standard that I want yet. I have all these pages in various sketchbooks of like random little experiments. So that's the dried ink pipette drops and various sketches. This is the page I used to test out the Pepe drawing gum, which I showed in my last studio vlog. Which is like a masking fluid in a pen. So I have all these like drawings and doodles all over the place, but it's a case of me sitting down and deciding which ones I'm going to use and which style I'm going to do, and how I'm going to fill each page. So I've got some vague ideas that you can see over on the left of like the Tanabata festival decorations, girls with flowers, maybe do some I might do some date stickers this month, I'm not sure. I'd love to do more illustrations. Like, I really love this one I drew of an adult and a child hanging the decorations off the bamboo. Like, if I could somehow recreate that to my own stupidly high standards, probably, I'd like to be able to give those to my Patreons. But I feel like I'm never feel ready to make the sheets, because I always feel like I could do more and I could draw more and there could be something better I could do. But at some point I have to say, no, come on, take what you have, take what you've got so far in all your sketchbooks, and I'm sure that you can make something good out of all these things. And usually I do, and I think my patrons are happy with what I've done so far, I hope. So if you're watching, thank you so much for supporting me so far, and I really hope you're liking the things, and they will be coming next week. And for everyone else, I hope that this video gave you some ideas, some inspiration, and I'm going to wrap up the video here. So thank you very much for watching, everybody, and if you've got any questions, any suggestions, any comments, any ideas, do leave them down below, and I look forward to hearing from you. I hope you all have a lovely weekend, a lovely week, and I'll be back next week. Just going to leave you at the end of the video with a little bit of footage that I shot from my rainy walk home this morning, and thanks for being here, and See you soon.